Hi, 5th grade. Today in math, we are doing lesson 8.5, and this is over measuring liquid, how we do it in the United States. Remember, with the metric system, they use that same chart no matter what they're measuring, but in the United States, we do it a little bit different. So yesterday, remember, we talked about how we measure length, either using inches, feet, yards, or miles, and we made a chart to help us. Today, we are talking about how we measure liquids like waters, juice, milk, those types of things. And instead of making a chart today, I have a little story and a picture that goes along with liquids so that we can try to remember how many of each thing there are when we're measuring these in the United States. So here's how the story goes. There is a land of gallon. So in the land of gallon, the big G, this is like an island. So G stands for gallon. In the land of gallon, there are 4 queens. 4 queens. So that stands for quarts. So if I asked you how many quarts are in a gallon, you would say 4 because there are 4 queens in the land of gallon. So in the land of gallon, there are 4 queens. Each queen has a prince and a princess. Each queen has a prince and a princess, and the P's stand for pints. Okay, so in the land of gallon, there are 4 queens. Each queen has a prince and a princess. So I could say, how many pints are in a quart? Well, I would look at the quart. How many pints are in a quart? 2. Or I could say, how many pints are in a gallon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints in a gallon. All right, and then the story continues on one more time. In the land of gallon, there are 4 queens. Each queen has a prince and a princess, and each prince and princess has 2 children. That's what all the little C's are for. They each have 2 children. The C stands for cups. So then I could ask you questions like, how many cups are in a pint? Well, I would look at 1 pint, and there are 2 cups in there. Or I could say, how many cups are in a quart? So I would look in the Q. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 cups in a quart. Or I could go even bigger and say, how many cups are in a gallon? Well, the gallon is the whole thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cups in a whole gallon. Okay? Or I might ask questions like, how many quarts are in half a gallon? So I would cover up half of my gallon. How many quarts are in half? That would be 1, 2. Okay, so this picture is kind of like our chart from yesterday, but instead of putting it in a chart form, this picture helps me remember all of these things if I ever needed them again, which you probably will later. So in the land of gallon, there are 4 queens. Each queen has a prince and a princess, and each prince and princess has 2 children. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these so that I remember what each of those parts of my story stands for. And then I can use this picture and this story to help me remember my liquid measurements. Also, just like we did yesterday, it is important to remember if we are going to bigger measurements, we are going to divide. If we are going to smaller measurements, we are going to multiply. Just like we were yesterday. Bigger measurements, we need to be dividing. Smaller measurements, we need to be multiplying. Now, let's list these out from small to big just to make sure that we realize which one's the smallest and which one's the biggest. So if I'm measuring a liquid, what is the smallest form of measurement that I could use? That would be the cups. Cups are the smallest. The next smallest would be pints. Next in order would be quarts. And the biggest form of measurement is gallons. Okay, so smallest to biggest, there are my forms of measurement. Alrighty, let's see if we can do some things with this information. The first one says, what fraction of a gallon, so I'm looking at the whole gallon, is 3 quarts? So, how many quarts do I have? The question tells me I have 3 of them. So 3 is my top number. And then I have to look for how many there actually are. So how many quarts make up 1 gallon? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm using 3 out of 4. So that would be 3/4. What fraction of 1 quart, so I'm just looking at 1 Q, just like that, is 1 pint? So I have 1 pint, that's my top number, out of how many total pints are in that quart? 2. So I would have 1/2 of them. Okay, the next one says, what fraction of 1 quart, so again, I'm just looking at one of those Q's, is 1 cup? So I have 1 cup. How many total cups make up that quart? 4. So I would have 1/4 of them. What fraction of 1 gallon, so I'm looking at the whole picture, is 3 pints? Okay, I have 3 pints. That's my top number. How many total pints are there in a gallon? 8. Remember, pints are the P's, so I would count all of those. There are 8 in that gallon, so I would have 3/8 of them. So it's just how many you have out of how many total there are. All right, then we're going to go down to the bottom, and we are going to do some converting. This is just like we were doing yesterday, except instead of using that chart, we're using this picture because now we're doing liquids instead of length. So I have 2 gallons, and I am going to pints. So I have to ask myself, smaller or bigger? Gallons to pints. I am getting smaller, so I need to be multiplying. So I'm going to take 2 because that's how many I have, times, and remember, here's where I have to use my picture to help me. How many pints are in a gallon? Those are my 2 labels, so that's what I'm looking at. How many pints are in a gallon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to be multiplying by 8. This should be the quick part. Once you know what you're multiplying, the answer should come quickly. So that would be 16. Okay, let's try another one. I have 15 quarts, and I am converting to cups. So I'm going from quarts to cups. Looking up here, quarts to cups, I'm getting smaller, so I need to be multiplying. So 15 times, and then I have to use my picture to help me. I'm going from quarts to cups. So how many cups are in a quart? Well, here's a quart. How many cups are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So times 4. Now, if you're not sure on your 15s, you'll have to work this out, but it won't take you very long. It would be 60. So 60 cups would be my answer. All right, let's try the next one. Now remember, the next one looks a little bit funky because what I know is in the back. That's okay. I still do the same thing. I have 48 quarts, and they are converting to gallons. So I'm going from quarts to gallons. Quarts to gallons, I'm getting bigger, so I need to divide. 48 divided by, then I have to use my picture. How many quarts are in a gallon? Looking at my picture, how many quarts are in a gallon? 4 of them, so I'm dividing by 4. I could work that out if I need to. It's going to be a 12. So 12 would be my answer. All right, let's keep practicing. I have 20 cups, and I'm going to quarts. So I'm going from cups to quarts. Cups to quarts is getting bigger, so I'm dividing. 20 divided by, then I have to use my picture. Cups to quarts. How many cups are in a quart? Here's a quart. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm dividing by 4, which would be a 5. Once you decide if you're multiplying or dividing, the rest should come pretty quickly because you should know your multiplication facts. All right, I have 144 cups, and I'm going to gallons. Cups to gallons, I'm getting bigger by a lot. So bigger is divide, so 144, I'll do it out here, divided by, now I have to use my picture, how many cups are in a gallon? How many cups are in a gallon? Well, I have to count all of these little C's. If we count them all, it is 16. So divided by 16. Now we're going to round that to 20. Looking here, cover up my back numbers. 2 into 14 is a 7. So let's multiply 16 times 7. Remember, just find any space to work. That's fine. Ooh, that's a little bit small. I think I could go up again, maybe twice, because that's kind of far away. I'm going to try 9 and see if that works. If not, then I'll try 8. Ooh, 9 was perfect. So it's not a 7. We realized it is actually a 9. So my answer would be 9. Remember, we don't want a remainder, so it should go in there evenly. So I knew if that didn't come out evenly, I needed to bump it up. Now, if 9 was too big, I would have bumped back down to 8. But I thought it could go up 2 because it was kind of quite far away there. Okay, we have one more here. I have 23 pints, and I'm going to cups. Pints to cups. I'm going smaller, so I need to multiply 23 times. Then I use my picture to decide how many. How many cups are in a pint? How many cups are in a pint? Well, that would be 2. So I would multiply by 2. And that would be 46. So my answer would be 46. Okay, you're using the same skills as we were yesterday when we were converting length. I decide if I'm going bigger or smaller so that I know whether to multiply or divide, and then we use our picture, just like yesterday we were using our chart to see what we need to multiply or divide by. If you are at home, you probably need to pause the video right here so that you can see the picture and your things as you are working. Good luck, do your very best. Bye.